Hello, good morning and welcome. This is forexforsteadyprofit.com. I've been asked by Felicity, one of my subscribers, to explain the ratios and also the divergence on the commitment of traders. So I'll go ahead and get that sorted. Just have a look at the commitment of traders chart. Right, so this is the commitment of traders report in its raw form. This comes out barring bank holidays and other things that sometimes catch me out. It's out every week on a Friday about 8:30 GMT, and it shows the positions taken by some of the best traders in the world, and it gives a real insight to their thoughts on the market and their fundamental analysis. Right, so if we look here, this is the Swiss franc, and you get the non-commercials, which are speculators, and then the people I'm interested in are the commercials. And I look at their positions, and I also like to plot them on a graph against the non-commercials because I'm looking for a divergence between the two, where the commercials will be either heavily long or short, and the speculators will be exactly the opposite way round. So if you look at the long position and the short position, there is a ratio between longs to shorts. And in this case, the Swiss franc, on the commercials, they have a long ratio of just over 7-1. So for every 7 contracts they've got out long, they will have 1 contract short. Diversely, on the other side, the non-commercials, the speculators, they have more short contracts than they do long. So there is a divergence between the two, and we will have a look now on the graph to see how that pans out. Okay, so this is the Swiss franc, and this is a graph of the commercials, which are in red, and the speculators, which are in green. And as you see here on the graph, the commercials and the speculators have taken directly opposite positions. And as you can see, the commercials are they're an extreme long position. Now, the positions taken by the commercials, if you have 7 positions long and 1 position short, so there are 7 times as many speculators long as there are shorts, that gives you a 7-1 ratio of longs against shorts. And for the speculators, they have it's about 3-1. So for every 3 contracts they have short, they have 1 contract long. And if you follow the commercials at the moment on the Swiss franc here, this is an extreme bullish position that we have. So if you go back and you have a look at past bullish positions, they've led to these nice moves up. And this one here, nice move up. So by using the commitment of traders report and plotting the positions on the graph, you can get a picture of where positions were historically, and also the consequences of a move by the commercials, long or short. And this gives us a really good indication of what to expect. So now we'll go and have a look at a different chart. This is a divergence calculator. This is available in my members center. Okay, so here we have a divergence calculator. So you can take a currency like the Swiss franc, and you can put in the long and the short positions. These are for the non-commercials, and you get a ratio of 2.72-1 short. And then you do the same for the commercials, and you get a ratio of 7.17 long, which gives you an overall divergence between the two of 9.89, a divergence of 9.89 long. Now that is the most long currency actually on the divergence this week. And if you put that against a currency that is basically short, uh, like the Canadian dollar, that has got a short divergence at 8.82, that gives you, let me just see, Swiss franc, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc has got a short divergence of 15.71. So that's an extreme divergence. So by looking at the pairs like this, you can get a much higher probability trade than you could if you were just using the straight currencies. And I do prefer the crosses. The last 3 months they have given much better opportunities, and this is what I've been using in my members centre the last, as I say, 3 months. Okay, well, I hope that has helped a little bit. And when I come to use the candle charts, and you see my commercials ratio and my speculators ratio, you can understand kind of where they've come from. And the other thing to watch, of course, is open interest. Just before a currency, if it's overstretched and it's going to fall, open interest often dips, or if it's oversold and you're looking for it to go back up, open interest often goes up just before the rally. So that is another thing to look for. And hope you enjoyed that, and we'll get on with the report for today. Okay, thank you. Cheers. Bye. Hello, good morning and welcome. It's the 15th of December. It's just after 9 o'clock. No, in fact, it's nearly 10 o'clock. And it's Friday, so we got the commitment of traders out tonight. So we'll start with the AUD USD, but before that, I'd just like to have a quick look at the DXY, which is the US dollar against a mixed barrel of sort of like European currencies. And as you can see, we fell there the other day. Wednesday, we had the big candle down. We pulled back a little bit yesterday and sort of fallen a bit today. So we haven't really recovered from that big candle down. You can see basically the same thing happen on the silver price. The price went up, it came back a bit, and then it went up again, more or less following like a shadow. So we'll leave that for a little bit, see where it goes to. Right, start with the AUD USD. And as you can see, the AUD has actually fallen a little bit probably, but the dollar's fallen a little bit as well. And we've had this nice move up. I've put a trade in this morning because we're getting very close to a weekly turning point. So if you look back weekly at where it is at the moment, you're just coming across the tops of these candles here. So yeah, we've got quite a bit of resistance there. And if we go on to the monthly chart, this brown line here is just at the tops of these candles where it found quite a bit of resistance over the last year or so. So we're not far away from resistance. That's only about 30 pips up. I can't see much more upside. The RSI's come up and tilted over. So I think we're going to start failing a little bit here. So I put my trade in. That's my excuse. It hasn't cut my trend line. It hasn't done the other things that I want it to do. So anyway, we'll see where we go with that one. Pound USD, same thing. We've had this little bit of weakness here in the dollar, and really we've flatted across there. So we are waiting to see a bit more downside in this, and we're looking to go down to 129. We are above the 50 on the RSI, so we'll just see where that goes. USD CAD. I am waiting to see more strength in this. We've had obviously the weakness in the dollar, and also I think we've had fair little bit of strength in the oil price. The commitment of traders are they've got an all-time bearish position for oil. All-time bearish position for oil. I am thinking that the oil price is going to crash down. The Canadian dollar will weaken, and we're also going to get strength into the US dollar. So I can see quite a rise in the value of this pair. And we are still below the 50 on the RSI, which is very disappointing. Wait for it to turn back up. Euro USD, we might even find a daily chart might be better. That's it, yeah. Well, I got knocked out yesterday of my top trades. It was just the one top trade got taken out. On the way back down, I've put 3 more in. We're in profit, and I'm waiting to see more weakness unfold for this. We're actually just above the 50 on the RSI. We've got a commercial short position of 1.65 to 1, which is a 5-year extreme, I believe. You know, we are very bearish of this pair. As I said, we're just above the 50 on the RSI, so we'll see where that one goes. The US dollar, Japanese yen, I got knocked out of a trade on that. I did have a trade here. I put a stop on it. I got knocked out for a small profit. We are actually below the 50 and pointing down on the RSI. So this is looking fairly bearish. Obviously, that was the weakness in the dollar the other day, and we followed on through with a bit of strength in the Japanese yen. This shows up better on some of the other pairs, like the Euro Japanese yen fell quite nicely over the last 3 days. Right, so looking for that to go down. Right, US dollar, Swiss franc. As you can see, you got the same news again. You got the weakness in the dollar there, a little bit of a pullback, and now we're going back down. If you look at the trend here, it's down, and I'm expecting more weakness for this pair. We have a long ratio of 5.7 to 1 for the Swiss franc, so it will be short for the pair. And we are just slightly below the 50 on the RSI, and I'm waiting for a good move down on this. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Well, we've had a little bit of a pullback in this. We did have a little touch of resistance on the RSI here. We sort of bounced up and down through it. That's basically, again, the same pattern as you see in all the other charts. We're on the way back up. The commitment of traders are bullish for the New Zealand dollar, so we are expecting more strength to unfold for this pair. I've got my trend line up. I really want this to recently go up to the recent highs, so you'd be looking about 500 pips up. So if we get 500 pips up and the commitment of traders turns round, I will be looking to short this pair back down. So we'll see what happens there, but I think it's going to be a next year thing. Silver, exactly the same thing on silver, mirroring the dollar. I think I've already said that. So we'll see what happens. The commitment of traders were bullish silver a little bit last week, so we'll see where that goes tonight. But I got out at the red line here, so you know, wherever if I can get back in above it or well above it, then I'll be sort of like improving my position. So anyway, that's where we go for today. We haven't really seen a big change in my bottom line. I'm on about 2% just over for the month, so hopefully I can get the 5 in, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, thank you all for watching. Cheers, bye now.